Hi, welcome to today's lesson on Series 01. So we'll continue from where we stopped, where that is the rise of prophecy in Israel, which we'll be considering today. So I'll give a full narration on how prophecy started in Israel and how it was moved from Moses, Samuel down to Joshua, the minor and major prophets. So starting with the lesson objective, will identify the early prophets, will describe their prophetic roles and other stuff. So the early prophets in Israel. Starting to begin the narration, the early manifestation of Israelite prophecy were marked by direct communication between God and his people through chosen individuals such as Moses, Samuel, Joshua, Deborah, and the rest, who are considered to or who are viewed or known to be the early prophets in Israel. Now, starting with Moses, Moses was considered one of the greatest prophets in the Hebrew Bible because he played an important role in this era. He was chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt and to receive the Torah on Mount Sinai. Now, the Torah, remember, is the 10 commandments, or it can also be viewed as the Pentateuch. So Moses' prophetic role was characterized by direct communication with God, where he spoke with God face to face, receiving divine instruction and guidance for the Israelites. Now, this intimate relationship between Moses and God enabled Moses to lead the Israelites through the wilderness, providing guidance and direction based on God's command. And to conclude that Moses' prophetic ministry was also marked by miraculous signs such as turning his staff into a snake and bringing plagues upon Egypt, which demonstrated God's power and authority and also paved the path for him as a prophet in Israel. So we've considered Moses as one of the early prophets in Israel. Let's now move to another prophet such as Samuel. Now, the prophetic tradition continued to evolve with Samuel after Moses. So Moses served as a bridge between the era of Moses and the period of the monarchy. So Samuel's prophetic role included anointing kings, criticizing the monarchy, and guiding the people. He anointed Saul and David as the first two kings of Israel, establishing the monarchy and the role of prophets in relations to the king. So Samuel's prophetic ministry also involved rebuking King Saul for his disobedience, demonstrating the prophetic role in holding leaders accountable to God's command, and furthermore, Samuel judged Israel, providing guidance and direction to the people during a time of transition and change. So another early prophet we'll consider after considering Moses and Samuel is Joshua. Now, as the Israelites transitioned from the wilderness to the promised land, Joshua, who was Moses' successor, played a crucial role in leading them into their new home. Now, Joshua's prophetic role involved receiving divine guidance and instruction from God, which he followed in leading the Israelites. He led the Israelites in conquering the promised land, following God's command and instruction. So, Joshua's faithfulness to God's commands and his trust in God's guidance enabled the Israelites to experience victory and success in their military campaigns. Additionally, Joshua renewed the covenant between God and the Israelites, reminding them of their obligations to follow God's command. So now these are the early prophets and can also be viewed as the rise of prophecy in ancient Israel. So let's continue. These early prophets set the stage for the prophetic tradition in Israel, emphasizing the importance of obedience to God's commands, faithfulness to the covenant, and trust in God's guidance and provisions. So their legacy continued to shape Israel's understanding of God and their relationship with Him through their prophetic ministries. I think we've come to the end of today's lesson on the rise of early prophets in Israel, or the rise of prophecy in Israel. I'll see you in the next class where we'll be looking at the characteristics and roles of these prophets.